The keys slammed onto the table so hard they bounced, and my dad laughed like he'd just delivered the best punchline of the night. "Happy birthday," he said. But he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at my sister. Outside the window, parked crooked in the driveway, sat a brand new SUV with a massive red bow still stuck to the hood. The engine was still warm. The smell of dealership leather drifted inside every time the door opened. I stood there, empty-handed, on my birthday, while my mom smiled and said the sentence that would permanently change how I saw my family. "You don't need a car. You work from home." In that exact moment, watching my sister clutch those keys like she'd won the lottery, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't favoritism by accident. This was a choice. And what happened next didn't just expose them, it detonated everything I thought I knew about my family. But to understand how I ended up standing there, frozen, while my parents celebrated my sister on my birthday, I need to take you back. Because this didn't start with a car. It started years earlier, quietly, the way betrayal usually does. Growing up, I was the easy one. If you know, you know. I was the kid teachers praised, the one relatives compared their kids to, the one my parents never worried about. Straight A's, no partying, no drama. I learned early that being low maintenance made life smoother for everyone else. My sister Lily, on the other hand, was the sun, loud, emotional, always orbiting attention. If Lily cried, the house stopped. If Lily needed something, everyone adjusted. If I needed something, well, you'll figure it out. That was my parents' favorite phrase. They said it like it was a compliment. You're strong. You're independent. You don't need as much help. And for years, I believed them. When I got into college, I didn't even ask for help. I applied for scholarships, worked 2 part-time jobs, and moved into a tiny apartment with furniture I found on Facebook Marketplace. Lily started college 3 years later. My parents helped with tuition, paid for her meal plan, bought her a brand new laptop because her old one was slow. I remember sitting at the kitchen table while my mom handed Lily the receipt. "Don't worry about paying us back," she said. "Focus on school." I smiled. I even said, "That's great." But inside, something twisted. Tell me honestly, if that were you, would you have said something? I didn't. I never did. After graduation, I landed a remote job. Nothing flashy, but stable. Health insurance, predictable hours. I was proud of myself. That pride took a hit when my car died. It was an old sedan I'd driven since college. One morning, it just refused to start. I towed it to a mechanic who barely even pretended to look hopeful. "Transmission's done," he said. "You're better off buying something else." I didn't panic. I made a plan. I saved what I could. Then, for the first time in my adult life, I asked my parents for help. Just help. I remember that conversation like it was burned into my brain. We were at the kitchen table. My dad was reading the paper. My mom was scrolling on her phone. "My car finally gave out," I said. "I was wondering if you could help me with a down payment. I'll handle the monthly payments." My mom didn't even look up. "You don't need a car." I blinked. "What?" "You work from home," she said, like that settled everything. "Why waste money?" "I still need to get places. Groceries, doctor visits, emergencies." My dad folded his paper. "Lily needs one more than you." That sentence landed hard. "She goes out," my mom added. "She has a life." I laughed, but it came out wrong. "So do I." They exchanged a look, the one that said, "This conversation is over." "You'll figure it out," my dad said. And I did. I used Uber, I walked, I scheduled deliveries, I adjusted my entire life around not having a car. And I told myself it was fine. That was my mistake. Because every time you accept less than you deserve, you teach people how to treat you. I just didn't realize how much I'd taught them until my birthday. My birthday had never been a big deal in our family. We did cake, dinner, a small gift. I stopped expecting more a long time ago. So when my mom insisted on a family dinner, I didn't think much of it. "You should come early," she said. "We're doing something special." That should have been my warning sign. I arrived in an Uber. As I stepped out, I noticed balloons tied to the mailbox. Big metallic ones. My stomach tightened. Inside, Lily was vibrating with excitement. She couldn't even pretend to be calm. "You're going to lose it," she whispered when she saw me. I laughed. "About what?" She just smiled and said, "Just wait." That's when my dad cleared his throat. "Why don't we step outside?" And there it was. A brand new SUV. Dark blue, shiny, massive. A bow stretched across the hood like it belonged in a commercial. My brain couldn't process it. "What is this?" I asked. My mom clasped her hands. "Isn't it beautiful?"
Lily screamed. Actually screamed. She ran toward it, crying, laughing, hugging my parents. "I can't believe you guys," she said. I stood there, frozen. We went back inside, and my dad slid the keys across the table. To Lily. "Happy birthday," he said. I waited. I genuinely waited for someone to say, "Just kidding." No one did. Then my mom turned to me. "You don't need a car," she said. "You work from home." The room tilted. "You told me you couldn't help me," I said. "You said it wasn't practical." My dad shrugged. "This is different." "How?" My voice shook. "How is this different?" Lily shifted uncomfortably. "I mean, I really do need it." I nodded slowly. And that's when I made a decision that changed everything. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I smiled, because something in me finally broke. Not loudly, but cleanly. And once something breaks like that, it doesn't go back together. That night, I barely slept. My phone buzzed with birthday texts I didn't care about. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the keys sliding across the table. And then my brain did something dangerous. It connected dots. 6 months earlier, my parents had asked me for help with their finances. My dad had pulled me aside, looking embarrassed. "You're good with money, right?" he asked. They were in trouble. Credit card debt, a bad investment, refinancing issues. They needed help budgeting, negotiating rates, setting things up discreetly. They trusted me. What they didn't realize was that by trusting me, they gave me access to everything. Accounts, transfers, savings, including one account I hadn't questioned at the time, a separate savings fund with consistent deposits, labeled only with an initial, L. Lily. My chest tightened. I logged in again that night, rechecked everything, and then I saw it. A recent transfer, a huge one, right before my birthday. That SUV wasn't just favoritism. It was funded by money that was never supposed to be used that way. And that's when I remembered my grandparents. They'd left an inheritance for both of us, not massive, but meaningful, split evenly. I'd never touched mine. I assumed it was still there. I was wrong. If you were me, would you confront them immediately? Or would you wait? Because I waited. I started listening instead of reacting. My mom mentioned tightening things up casually. My dad joked about how expensive the SUV really was. And then I called my aunt. She'd been the executor of my grandparents' estate. I explained everything, carefully. She was quiet for a long moment. "That's not how the funds were supposed to be used," she finally said. "Can you send me the documents?" I asked. When they arrived, my hands shook. It was clear, painfully clear. Half of that money was mine, and they'd taken it, without asking, without telling me, to buy my sister a car. I didn't scream. I didn't confront them right away. I planned. A week later, my parents invited me to another family dinner. I knew exactly why. They wanted normal back. So I went. Lily talked endlessly about the SUV. Heated seats, sound system, compliments from friends. I smiled, listened. Then my dad raised his glass. To family, and sticking together. That's when I stood up. "I actually have something to say." The room froze. I connected my phone to the TV. Statements, documents, dates. "I found the inheritance paperwork," I said. "You used my portion to buy Lily a car." My mom went pale. My dad stood up. "Now wait." "No," I said. "You wait." Lily stared at the screen. "What?" "They told me it was a gift," she whispered. "I know," I said. "This isn't your fault." Then I turned back to my parents. "You repay my share," I said calmly, "or I take this to a lawyer." My mom cried. My dad exploded. "You'd do this to your family?" he yelled. I looked him dead in the eye. "You already did it to me." Silence. That silence was power. The fallout was brutal. Guilt trips, angry messages, accusations. "You're selfish. You don't even need the money. You're tearing this family apart." But they paid me back. Every dollar. They had to cancel plans, dip into savings, face consequences. Lily sold the SUV, bought something modest. And for the first time in my life, no one told me to just be okay. I moved shortly after. New city, new apartment. I bought my own car, signed the paperwork myself, drove it off the lot alone. My parents and I barely talk now. When we do, it's careful, polite, distant. Sometimes my mom hints at forgiveness. "Families make mistakes," she says. Maybe. But here's what I learned. Being easy doesn't mean you deserve less. Being quiet doesn't mean you don't matter. And love that only flows one way isn't love, it's control. So I'll ask you this. If you were in my shoes, would you forgive them? Or would you finally choose yourself, like I did?